Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. Happy Friday to you. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Appreciate ya. That made it sound like I was signing off. Hey, appreciate ya. Have
Isn't
a good
it the most condescending way to say that?
No. But I really love you. No. This time, for sure. Let me ask you this: Are you supposed to get your kids presents for Valentine's Day?
Well, it's become that. So we give them presents on
What is that?
Christmas. We
That's
give
what I was
them
asking.
presents on their birthday. We give them presents on Easter. We give them presents on Valentine's Day.
My wife's all.
What other President's Day do we have now for these bratty kids?
Yeah. What do you?
They don't deserve it.
Are you getting something for the kids? I was like what? I'm not in love with those kids. I love them. I'm not
I think
in
we
love
lost
with
the
them.
plot on Valentine's
we?
Day, haven't we?
Like we're getting. I know people that get on social media and they are giving presents to their kids on St. Patrick's Day. And they woke up this morning.
We're doing what now?
Billy had his St. Patrick's Day basket. Here's what it looked like.
A
Anyway,
St. Patrick's Day basket.
shout out to Thirst because they have such a great.
Stop it.
No,
You're
all
not
that
serious
stuff.
about that.
I'm telling. Yes.
They're what?
Yeah. That Arbor Day
What is
box
that, like a
fake.
tree or something?
No, it's
A
got to be
seedling?
fake. Come on. No way.
An Arbor Day box?
Anyway, I'm just saying for those who celebrate with their kids, apparently.
I'm sure I offended somebody with my disdain for non-Christmas birthday.
No, birthday's fine. Christmas fine. We get it.
That's
But
what gifts
hey,
are made
hey,
for.
Hallmark, stay out of my relationship with my kids. All right, I'll figure it out. You don't need to tell me what I need to buy.
I mean, it was complicated enough for us
I know,
to
I
screw
don't-
up Valentine's Day. Now we got to screw it up for our kids too.
I already can't afford this family. Okay.
It's a lot of pressure on us,
All right?
guys. Come
So
on.
I'm not doing this. Like we're already set up to fail on this day. And do you celebrate? Like the kids are all at school. I did have the kid who made the toilet. One of my kids made the toilet for his. He made a toilet for his Valentine's basket.
Glad you kept going with the sentence there. You were celebrating that your kid made the toilet. I mean, how old is he?
No, we do have that going on too in our house. We have kids of all
shouldn't
ages.
be a son that's having trouble making the toilet.
No, but I do. No, he made his Valentine's like they do the boxes.
Yes. So he chose to do a toilet.
Lloyd told me. Lloyd the other day was making the Valentine's box with his kids. One of my kids made a toilet.
I think that's funny.
It was great. So it works. Put your candy in my toilet, please. Happy pre-Valentine's Day, everybody, if you're out there, for those who celebrate.
Pre-Valentine's Day.
Everything good, JJ? It's a Friday. We're there.
Oh, yeah. Everything's great.
My kids were so mad because they thought we were going to the RV show today. They thought, because they went to the boat show with us, remember?
Your kids want to go to the RV show?
They're insane about
Well, of course they do, right? They want to go fly ties or tie flies.
Tie flies, they did it.
Fly ties.
They want to
What
fly
did I just
ties.
say? We're going to fly ties.
So they
tie flies.
Because they want to walk on the RVs and do the same thing that we do, which is I wouldn't have put the couch over there. Right? There they go. I would have. Yeah, this one, Dad, this is the one I'll take. Oh, just $1 million? Fine. So they were upset about that. They were like, aren't we going to the RV show today? I go, no, that was yesterday. They're like, what? What are you getting me for Valentine's Day then? So, no, we're not doing any of that. Yes, I don't know if you know this, but the Jazz have been in the news for the wrong reasons. And I don't know how, but we continue to beat this thing over the head. And last night, it was like just after we left the RV show, by the way, that the poo hit the fan.
Jeez, yeah, it came down.
It was. Here's why you should love being a Jazz fan and in this market. And this isn't temporary, by the way. This isn't like, he's a newish owner of an NBA franchise, and so he's still kind of getting his feet under him. Ryan Smith knows exactly what he's doing. That's where we're going to start things off here. Throw the kudos to the owner of the Utah Jazz for fighting back against the man. And that's where we're going to kick things off here on our Friday. It's the cut, top of the program. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, so Ryan Smith goes on Twitter and throws a little bit back at the league for going after the Jazz. The Pacers got it too, but you know what? No one really talked about the Pacers situation. You know what I mean? Like the Pacers.
How come no one's talking about the Washington Wizards?
The
situation?
Washington Wizards. I don't know why they're not getting fined. Are they just like they're old school bad? Like they're
so irrelevant that they're not even paying attention to their tank because they've been tanking for 30 years.
Well, I mean, like we've seen this. We've seen examples of this, and here's the real problem. And I want the thing is we convinced ourselves, JJ. Finally, we convinced ourselves to be on board with what was going on here because we hated it from the get-go. By the way, we've all complained about tanking in the NBA, and the reason that it came around now and that we are like we've bought into whatever this process looks like because it just in the last 2 weeks started to look like there's a glimmer of hope. As soon as that happened, then you get the fine for $500,000 that hits the pocketbook of Ryan Smith and the Utah Jazz because they sat their guys in the fourth quarter. And Ryan Smith had a very, very good point, which was we got fined for winning the game. That makes sense. And that's the exact quote, right? We got fined for winning the game, by the way. That makes sense. It doesn't because, I mean, these are guys that you're trying to evaluate and see. I'm not saying that the Jazz wanted to win, or they didn't want to win that game, by the way. The Miami Heat did
not in their best interest.
The Miami Heat weren't tanking. They just played bad basketball that night. Yep. And the Utah Jazz, the young guys came in and beat that Miami team at their place, and then they get fined for it because they sat their starters in the third and fourth quarter. Their big names in the third and fourth quarter, and I'm not sure what the alternative was supposed to be. By the way, now, when you're looking at a guy that you got in and you say, yeah, we took a look and we didn't like what we saw with that knee, and while he can play right now, we want to make sure this guy's good long term because that was found out after he got to Utah or after he got to the Jazz. I don't know when.
They knew about the tumor in his knee before he played.
Right, and so the bottom line was after all that, and I'm not making an excuse for the Jazz. We've hated the tank forever, but we got ourselves around to going, okay, the Jazz, their front office, they're right in step with what other people have done over the years. And people are saying that what the Jazz have done have been, I'm trying to be more open about this, JJ. Is what they did like a new version of what we've seen before? Have we never seen teams sitting guys before? We certainly have seen guys who just have rest next to their name, and you kind of looked and went, all right, appreciate it, thanks, but no thanks. It was so, and the egregious part is that we've suddenly gone after the Jazz as the poster children for what not to do in a tank. An organization that has never been one that has been floundering, no end in sight, nothing that they have going for them, despite the fact that they're in a market that is not easy to be able to bring talent to, they have found a way. And part of that is even just hiring Danny Ainge. Like that's an aggressive move to bring a guy in and say, hey, will you kind of unretire yourself and like work for us for a while, please? And I look at all of this thing and I hear stuff like this because we had to play the Kendrick Perkins. ESPN kept it going, right, with the Jazz talk. Perk, as you pointed out, former Jazz man.
Former Jazz man, Kendrick
Perkins.
Jazz man for a day.
So many have gone through it. And maybe he didn't like how he was treated when he was here. You know, it was like when he was never
Imagine
here.
What it was like for Russell Westbrook going through
it
twice.
Maybe he's just, yeah. And here's what Perk said about the newest situation here because he went after it. He's standing up for the game of basketball.
Oh, my gosh.
And by the way, we've all made these complaints over the years. And the NBA's done nothing to fix it. Here's what Perk said about this Jazz fine.
I wish Adam Silver would have fined them $5 million for disrespecting the game of basketball. Like, let's stop being nice about it and throwing out the word tanking. No, it's actually throwing games. You're trying to throw games to lose games. Think about that for a second. In the in one of the best sports in the world, in a competitive sport, you're teaching to try to lose games.
And you were asking yesterday why.
That's what you're trying to do. And why? Like, I totally disagree with whatever front office expert you went talk to or who's writing a blank check. It is not a generational talent in this draft. Do they have some good franchise guys? Yeah. Absolutely. A.J. DeBanza, is he a Victor? Is he a Cooper Flagg? Is he a Braun? Hell no. Is any of those guys capable of doing something or taking it to that level? I think they're good starting points. But going back to Adam Silver, I would have fined their ass more for messing up, because as a competitor, DG, answer this. You mean to tell me you could walk in the locker room after all you've been through to get to the NBA and be okay with going out there and saying, I'm trying to lose a game while you're on the floor?
Never. It's never okay. And you don't want that DNA, that type of DNA spilling into the atmosphere of a losing culture locker room.
In basketball, period.
Okay, in other markets, they might, obviously they don't know the Jazz like we do, right? I don't think anybody who knows this organization thinks to themselves a loser mentality locker room, right? Like,
this whole process is about getting to the point where you're winning, not about losing.
And that's where they want to get. And by the way, aren't they incentivized to try to get better?
They're doing exactly what the system allows them to do. They didn't break any rules.
I just want to know why. First of all, horrible take on that this draft class is not even that good. Like, I don't know what direction he was going with that. Not one expert thinks that. Not one expert sees that.
Kendrick Perkins, you get paid to analyze basketball. How do you not know how good this draft class is?
He named off a bunch of guys that would have been drafted before.
There are probably two players in this draft that may be better than Cooper Flagg based on evaluations right now.
He probably would have gone. Cooper Flagg would have gone behind maybe two or even three of the players in this draft.
And Cooper Flagg's generational, could become a future Hall of Famer.
Great.
That's how good this class is. Talk to anybody who follows and understands the draft. This is the best draft in the last decade, and maybe going back to 2003, the LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh draft.
We did this to ourselves because when this first began, none of us liked the situation that this was. None of us liked. And by the way,
fun. Nobody loves this.
It's never fun. When you look at the bottom of the standings in the NBA, which you've had to look at more closely in the last few years, unfortunately, Jazz fans, you never paid attention. It's not that you didn't ever pay attention to it, but you never looked down there at the teams that were always there. Think about like the Charlotte Hornets. How long in your lifetime have they been anywhere except for in the bottom four of the Eastern Conference?
They weren't even in Charlotte for a period of time.
I know. And so this is one of those things where you look and you go, there are teams who've been doing this every year forever. How many times have the 76ers done this exact thing?
The San Antonio Spurs.
The Spurs have
Where was the outrage last year? Where was the outrage last year? There was plenty of teams doing. The Toronto Raptors did this exact same thing where they sat Scotty Barnes late in games to make sure they lost. 2 years ago, the Dallas Mavericks were fined. They were actually caught and fined by the league for trying to do the same thing. And they ended up getting Derek Lively. They ended up keeping their lottery pick. They got caught manipulating their lineups and holding players out to try to hold on to their draft pick because they had a similar thing where they had a protection on it. This is not new. This is not original. Why are the Jazz getting picked on here? Because of the way they're doing it. Gamblers are pissed. The league is pissed. You want to know why? Because they're in bed with DraftKings and you name them whatever, and ESPN Bet and all these places. This is the worst thing for a gambler, and all of you that bet on games know what you're talking about. Why do gamblers care so much about injury reports?
Yeah,
why do injury reports exist in the first place? Mm-hmm. Have you ever asked yourself, why do we have injury reports in professional sports?
It's 100% because of that, and that's a reason why now collegiate teams are starting to do the same thing. Conferences in college are starting to put this out there. Hey, you've got to be upfront about these injuries.
If you say Larry Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Keontae George are playing tonight, bettors are going to make bets on that information. And when the game's halfway through and all of a sudden those players aren't playing anymore, and somebody bet the over on that player's point total that game, they're going to be angry. And what happens when the gamblers are angry? The betting companies are angry. And what happens if the betting companies are angry? They're coming at the league. They're coming at Adam Silver. Hey, this is messing with our business.
Right.
We're paying you a lot of money. You need to do something about this. So who's running the show right now? Who's running ESPN? Who's running the NBA?
I mean,
Who? It's just like in college football. Who's in charge in college football? Who's the commissioner of college football?
yeah, the
It's
networks.
ESPN and Fox.
Yeah, it's the networks. Mm-hmm.
Don't for a second fool you about that. We're all
Right.
talking about we need Nick Saban to be the commissioner of college football. Okay, until he's writing the checks of ESPN and Fox, he ain't nobody. Same thing here. The reason the Jazz just got punished is because the betting companies are mad, and the league has to protect that asset
Right.
and those relationships.
Well,
And they're trying to discourage it now, and now it's blowing up because everyone's talking about it. And Perk, he's just piggybacking on the rage bait here and taking it to another level with the $5 million fine. It's hard to listen to him because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
It's
He didn't
hard
know
to-
what he's talking about with the draft. He doesn't know what he's talking about with tanking, and you're ignoring all this tanking that's been going on for 40 years. This system has been broken for 4 decades.
it's hard to watch because I think what's hard for Jazz fans to wrap their brain around, they're like, no, we've never been that franchise. Fans are like, that. No. The reason they're mad is because it's like they've never been this franchise. They've had to figure these things out, and unfortunately, the league has set it up this way. And by the way, why hasn't the league made changes then? Why doesn't the
They
league?
have.
I know, but I'm saying like what?
The new weighted stuff that actually killed the Jazz in this last lottery.
Right.
There's teams stuck in perpetual tank because of the new weighted system, where a team like the Dallas Mavericks, who was in the NBA Finals a year ago, can win a lottery the next year. Why are the Spurs winning it every time they're in it? Weighted odds. So you no longer get a 25% chance of winning the lottery if you're bottom 4. You get a small percentage, and that's exactly how it played out. So the Jazz had to do it again. These teams are going back to the well every year because they're not getting what they're looking for.
Right.
They're not getting that help. All these teams are trying to build winning rosters, but there's only so many star players in the league, and there's only so many star players coming into the league. And some of those players that we think are great end up being busts, and that sets back these teams. It's unlike any other sport where one player can change everything. Not even in the NFL. Look at all the great players that are in the NFL.
Well, and
Is
then
there
look at all the
one
teams.
player in the NFL that was worth tanking for? Actually, no, that doesn't happen in the NFL because that's not how it works. Major League Baseball? NHL? Does anyone tank? Macklin Celebrini was one of the. Now that we're in NHL market,
Yeah.
Did anybody tank for Macklin Celebrini? Obviously, a big time star. We knew he was generation. Connor Bedard. The Blackhawks just happened to stink that bad, and there's a lottery in the NHL,
Right.
which the Mammoth just won with incredibly difficult odds.
So here are, and it's not when they won it, they got to the fourth
But
pick.
they could only move up 10 spots
Right.
because there's
Of the way the
protections in
system
place,
is. Yes.
which is something the NBA should look at.
So Will Hardy, it's been so tough to be in his spot. Like he's trying to develop as a head coach, and he's doing what he can to try to figure out how to develop these young men, and then trying to find the best lineup. And the best lineup right now for the Jazz doesn't mean the one that's going to get them wins every night. The best lineup is you're trying out guys for the future, JJ. You're trying guys out like these.
I love what he's doing.
Kyle
It's
Filipowski,
perfect.
is he going to be on this team in 2 years? Right now, they're trying to figure out if that's the case.
Right.
Is Bryce Sensabaugh? He's in that kind of camp too, right? Where you go,
Isaiah Collier.
Are
these guys part of our rotation when we're good?
And it's kind of an intense tryout right now. And all these guys have made exceptional inroads. You know why? Because of the minutes they're able to play. And it sounds like, if you're listening to this outside of this market, it just sounds like excuse making. But here's the thing. We hated the tank for so long, and we had to be convinced. And last year was an absolute. It was crap at the end of the. It just felt.
It was the worst.
Don't you remember sitting in the JCWs there in South Jordan?
I'll never forget it.
And we're just sitting there, and we watched, and we're going through this, and Ben and Jake are sitting there with us as well, and we're going. And as soon as, I think, who was it that pulled? It was when the 76ers were pulled at a certain spot, and Ben was like, "Oh no, they're gonna get the which pick did they end up with?
Third. When the Sixers jumped
When the
up to
Sixers
three,
got
we're
to
like,
3,
oh no,
it's over.
And the Mavericks had already been. We already knew they were in the top. So you had two teams that were way down had moved up, you're like, oh no.
Every TV in that place was turned on, and it just went, like it just got silent, and it got bad because it was already hard to watch. It's hard to watch a team that has been so good at winning lose at the rate that they were, with the hope that this can get better at some point. And they do want it to get better at some point. Did we end up having the
The Spurs moved up too, if you remember.
Did I erase the Will Hardy thing? Oh, okay. All right.
The top 3 teams in the lottery last year all jumped up from way down in the odds.
By the way, after all was said and done, and I've heard rumors of why Wendy has kind of gone back and made the apology tour happen. It's because some of the relationships that he may have had here in town
he ticked some people off.
Might have gotten a little sticky overnight.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you, buddy.
So Brian Windhorst goes on, and here's what he said about the Jazz fine, and here's what he said about just kind of the whole thing going forward here.
So first off, I'm going to say the fine is insignificant. I'm not saying that it doesn't affect Ryan Smith to pay $500,000. I'm just saying it's insignificant. The second thing I'm going to say is I have an announcement to make. And I need you all to hold me accountable to this announcement for the next 3 months, because it's going to get tough. It's going to be challenging. I'm giving the Tankers a pass. I'm giving them a pass. I could sit here and go chapter and verse to some of the stuff that I'm seeing in Utah, some of the stuff I'm seeing in Washington, in Sacramento, in Indiana. But you know what? I can't blame them, Shay, because they are incentivized to do this. And so, therefore, I am determining that these are good people who are good at their jobs, having to make bad decisions because they're incentivized to do so. We see this across humankind. People are sometimes incentivized to do things that are not, for the greater good. They're incentivized to do this. The way that everything is set up, you are incentivized to lose. And so I can say what the Jazz are doing, and I can say I disagree with it, but I can't look at you and say that if I was Ryan Smith or I was Will Hardy or I was Austin Ainge, that I wouldn't do it. And so really what Adam Silver is trying to do here is he's trying to hold his finger in the dam, because he's now we're in mid-February, and he's looking at the landscape, and he realizes that there's about to be a disaster when this thing breaks, because we're going to have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams not trying to win. And he's trying with this to send a message over the bow, please stop, otherwise we're going to get more serious. But they have to change the fundamental issues. Without changing the incentive, you will not change the behavior. You know this with a toddler, and it's true even in billion-dollar businesses.
I do love that he waxed philosophical. This is part of the human condition. It's like, what are we doing here? So his backpedal included
good people have to do bad things.
Yeah, exactly. His backpedal included, we're all human. Right? We all start to look at each other and go, Wendy, what are you doing? You pissed off all these people that, number one, you already knew were good people.
Well,
and
the
by
mistake he made, and others have made in the media, is they're picking on one team when they need to be picking on everybody. They actually need to be picking at Adam Silver in the league itself.
Oh, yeah.
But nobody in that business wants to do that. So you start everybody, all of us in this business understand, and I'll give him credit for pointing this out. We all understand this is bad and this sucks and it's a problem. This is a bad thing for the NBA. The NBA has a massive problem here.
Right.
I don't know what the solution is, but it's a massive problem, and it's impacting the quality of the league and the integrity of the game as a whole. The Utah Jazz themselves are not doing anything to the integrity of the game. This is a league-wide problem.
Sure.
And that's why his comments, Bobby Marks, and I felt, and a lot of us felt, were out of line, because it's out of touch with what's actually really going on, which is the bigger problem.
Well, think about...
And to pick on one franchise and not the others felt strange.
Do you remember, think of the Donald Sterling days of the Clippers. I mean, these are dark days for the NBA, for ownership. That was a guy, when you talk about the integrity of the game, that was a guy who built rosters who he didn't care if they lost because...
He was trying to make money.
He wasn't tanking. He was just losing because he was incentivized to just not put a lot of money and thought into it, because the return was actually higher for being bad, and you just didn't have to pay for it.
He wanted payroll to be as low as possible because that put more money in his pocket.
Now, turned out he was a garbage human being.
That too.
And so we got to a new version of what losing looked like in the NBA, because the only way that, and especially for a team like Utah, the only way you can build a championship roster, it's limited. It's limited. And
Free agency doesn't even work anymore.
It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't even exist really anymore in the NBA. And so now you start to look at big-time trades and the draft. That's all you have.
Which is what the Jazz are doing right now.
And they've done both of those things. And by the way, this chess match that they've been playing.
So we're picking on the Jazz?
That's the thing. Think about it. You know,
This is a master class in rebuilding and tanking. Sorry.
We don't know yet. I mean, the reality is you got to get kind of lucky. Ask Sam Presti, who's pissed, by the way, at the Jazz. But this is a guy who got extremely lucky in some of these drafts.
We haven't even talked about the nasty stuff that he's doing behind the scenes.
Did you see all the memes of Karen Presti? Everybody photoshopping the Draper mom hair on it. Like, I want to talk to the manager, and because that's what it feels like. It's just these other GMs who are watching, and right now, and it's been 2 seconds that the Oklahoma City Thunder have been the haves. They've been the have-nots before too. And
how do you think they built this championship roster?
Of course, they had
Nobody
to go through
takes
some
better
moments.
than them 5 years ago.
So I don't know why these GMs now are suddenly sitting on this thing. Here, I wanted to get to Will Hardy talking about resting Lauri Markkanen, and he's in a bad spot because I say a bad spot because it's a lose-lose for him, because other people don't look and say, people in other markets don't even know who Kyle Filipowski is necessarily on this Utah Jazz team. They don't know that Bryce Sensabaugh is a guy that if they could develop him and he could turn things around and be, I mean, maybe he's a superstar.
Doesn't Cody Williams need developmental minutes right now?
100%. But here's what Will Hardy said about resting Lauri Markkanen the other night.
I sat Lowry because he was on a minutes restriction. So if our medical team puts a minutes restriction on Lowry, I'll try to keep Lowry healthy.
They're just going along with what the rules are. I mean, what the rules are that they've been given to them. And look, is there some stuff behind the scenes where you go, Lauri Markkanen hasn't played 70 games ever in his career, by the way, in a season?
But now, is the league going to start questioning that and finding teams for that? We're going to start finding teams for load management? Now we're crossing over into another topic.
Which everybody already hates.
And another big problem in
Which
the league.
everybody already hates, right? Nobody's liked it. And it all starts with, hey, awesome, my kid and I showed up at this game. It's $240 to sit 31 rows up in the stadium, and Lauri Markkanen's not playing. Or, remember when that kid came to Miami from Argentina, and he's like, and he wanted to see
Jimmy Butler?
He wanted to see Jimmy Butler, and he's like, I flew up from Buenos Aires for this just to watch Jimmy Butler sit. Or he was holding it up, and he's like, I came to see Jimmy Butler, and he wasn't there. Why? Because rest. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes people angry. That's what makes people upset about how this thing goes.
Which has hurt the league.
Yeah. All right. We'll take a break. When we come back, we've got more around the corner. We've got lots to jump into on a Friday. We hope you're enjoying your Friday, by the way. The Big Ten detailing their 2014 college football playoff. And it's kind of interesting, but it's the 16 versus 24. It's the SEC versus the Big Ten. The two biggest conferences by far in college football, the most powerful by far in college football, are going back and forth about what this looks like. We'll weigh in on whether or not the 24-team model works versus the 16-team model. I just don't even know if we've seen the 12-team model work all the way yet. But Stay right here. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing. When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. What would a 24-team college football playoff look like? I've said it on this program before. A 24-team college football bracket, I think I threw it out there. Some people went after me when I said, I think more football and more playoff games is better. It's just better football. And they were like, yeah, right. There's bad matchups even in the 12-team. I get that there are.
Yeah. Not all 12 teams probably should have been there.
Just think about it from the perspective of college football teams who have a shot to make a run. At any given point, right, where you look at it and you go, okay, can this team make a run? I've got the conference standings in front of me from last season. Do you know who the 5th place team was in the Big 12? Just off of the top of your head. And just think about, of all the teams that were there, the 5th place team in the Big 12 last season.
Who was it?
Arizona.
Okay. Good team.
Yeah.
Good season.
End of the year, 9-4. Houston was the 4th place team. Utah,
Yes.
3rd place. BYU, 2nd, of course, and then Texas Tech won the league. Both of those teams went 12-2. Both of them went 8-1 in conference. And during the regular season conference play. And I look at it, and I bring that up because Texas Tech, BYU, Utah, Houston, and Arizona would have been in to a 2014 playoff according to the document that the Big Ten put out.
Interesting.
Yes. Now, can you name for me who the number 6 team was in the Big Ten?
USC?
No, USC was
Lower than that.
USC was your 5th place team.
Oh, okay. Washington?
The Iowa Hawkeyes would have been the 6th place team in the Big Ten, and 6 teams, according to this document, thrown out there by the Big 12, or the Big Ten rather, would have been in. Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, USC, Iowa. Now, if you go to the SEC, any guesses on how many? So you had 5, according to this document that the Big 12 put out, or the Big 10 put out. Here's the list. 5 Big 12 teams would have gotten in. 6 Big 10 teams would have gotten in. 7 SEC teams would have gotten in. Any guesses on who was in 7th place in the SEC?
I'd go Vanderbilt.
It is. They are the 7th place team right there.
There were 7 teams in the SEC that won 10 or more games.
Crazy. So then you've got in the SEC in the playoff: Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt. I mean, why wouldn't the SEC drool over this possibility? Now, part of it is because they think they should have 7 teams in on a 16 team. Well, frankly, probably on a 12.
Well, they got 5 in this year,
right,
with the way things are.
How'd it go?
They had Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas A&M,
Yeah.
Alabama,
How'd it go?
and Oklahoma. Not good.
Ole Miss was the only team surviving even to the semifinals, and they lost there too. 3 years in a row, the Big Ten's won the national championship. Indiana, Ohio State, and Michigan. Those are your last 3 winners. And according to this, when they put this thing out there, they said it would consist of the 23 best teams and 1 spot for a group of 6. Now, it also has contingencies because guess what? In this, according to this year, you would have had 8 teams who received the byes. This is their setup. 8 teams would receive byes, okay, the top 8. 8 first-round games on campus, an extra week of home games with 8 second-round games played also on campus. I'm loving that so far because we already said, and you remember when, do you remember when Lane, no, it wasn't Lane Kiffin, it was Dan Lanning from Oregon goes, they were like, what do you think about this game? You're playing in Miami, blah, blah, blah. Or not in Miami, when they were playing Texas Tech, and I can't remember what bowl it was that they matched up against one another, but he goes, I think we should actually be playing on Texas Tech's campus. They had a better season than we did overall, and I think that the home teams should, you get a bye, but you should host a game on campus. That'd be awesome. So all the top teams would be rewarded with playoff games, and they would also be rewarded with games at home.
Yeah, I'm looking at a Big Ten 24 team bracket. Based on this year's results.
So you'd have 7 SEC teams.
Do you want me to
6
read the
Big
key
Ten
matchups locally?
5 Big 12. Now, only 3 ACC teams. Funny enough, one of them got to the NCAA.
It wasn't a good year for the ACC. That's all they would have deserved.
But they had a champion, or they had a team in the finals.
Right.
Notre Dame would have been in, and the 2 group of 6 teams would have also been in. So so roll out what these matchups would actually look like. Good. That's the breakdown of the field of per.
You want me to do the buys? You want me to focus on the of local interest?
I want to do the local interest ones.
Okay. Would you watch a BYU versus Houston 12 versus 21 game in the first round? BYU hosting.
I mean, it's a playoff game. You're hosting it at home. You take it, especially.
Those are the kind of matchups you're looking at in the first round.
Okay.
So there'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 first round matchups, and it would go from 9 through 24.
Who would Utah have played in the first round?
Michigan.
And what's their what? Oh, that is awesome. Oh my gosh.
Utah would host that game.
Think about how
Utah would have been the 15, Michigan the 18.
Think about how amazing that would have been.
Yeah.
Right? Knowing the things that were going to go down afterward.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine a first-round playoff game after Kyle Whittingham gets hired as the new head coach of Michigan?
Amazing.
What could have been? What could have been?
He just walks across the field to the other locker rooms to meet his new team. How you guys doing? Okay.
Some other matchups.
Great. But great matchup, by the way.
I'll throw some more out.
Was that one at Utah or at
It would
Michigan?
be at Utah. Utah would be the 15 seed, Michigan the 18. Alabama would be hosting JMU, James Madison.
Okay.
Texas would have been the 13. They would have got Tulane.
I think JMU would have played better against Alabama than they did against Oregon.
USC, Arizona, an old Pac-12 matchup, Pac-10 matchup. That'd be kind of interesting. Okay. Miami and Iowa would have been a 10-23 game. Notre Dame, Georgia Tech would have been an 11-22 game, and Vanderbilt would have been the 14 versus the 19.
See, I think people will mistakenly say, hey, those aren't very good football games. You want those as the college football playoff. You think Houston should have been in a college football playoff this year? I think that we're missing the point, which is those matchups would automatically mean so much more than the Poulan Weed Eater Bowl. Than the LA Bowl. Which one died this week? We didn't even give a proper
the
funeral.
Detroit /
the Motor City Bowl. So we're going to see some of these bowls hopefully dropping like flies because they already don't matter. These games would already matter way more than your second tier bowl games that are out there. Your Holiday Bowl, look, your Alamo Bowl. The Pop-Tarts Bowl, the People's National Championship. Those would mean nothing compared to being. And for all I care, hell, let them be that game. Let the Pop-Tarts Bowl host BYU and who was it in Houston?
Yeah.
Even if it's not a home game, have that be. If you want to keep the stupid bowl games around, fine.
You can work them into the playoff. We were already doing it with the playoff system right now.
So, I mean, I forget too. Like, think about the run that Indiana had this year. They won the. They won the Rose Bowl and the Peach Bowl and the national championship. Who walks away with a Rose Bowl trophy, the Peach Bowl trophy, and then the national championship on top of it? I mean, you have these, and it doesn't make sense either.
Ohio State did it the year before.
Right,
they won 2 bowl games, essentially.
2 premier names, right? Like, you win a Sugar Bowl and a Fiesta Bowl, and then you win the national championship, and you're like, okay, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'll play along here. I just don't know. I don't understand what the SEC's argument really is against the 2014 playoff. And I know that you've been a little bit like wary on it. So just real quickly before we get to a break, I just want to understand why the proposed 2014 model. Is it just because it sounds a little bit like a mess because you're just reading off a bunch of teams?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're just getting to the point where are there 24 teams that can win a national championship? Now, the argument you would have against me saying that is like, well, we have the NCAA tournament in basketball. Do we need 68 teams? Are 68 teams really going to have a chance to win a national championship?
Totally different.
Well, to be honest, there's been teams make the Final Four from that play-in situation in Dayton. So, yes, actually, it has worked out pretty well the way it's set up. So, I'm kind of coming around on this 2014 thing. That's what the FCS does. So, I don't hate it. I would like to start with 16. And I feel like this year especially, I think Notre Dame and BYU both could have made some noise and won a game in a playoff this year and weren't given that opportunity. I think 16 teams would have made a lot of sense this year.
By the way, the SEC agrees with you. Like, the SEC wants the 16. The Big Ten actually agrees with you too. Like, I want to see what 16 does. But their idea is, hey, let's check out 16, but let's not shut the door on 24 either. Because in the 16-team model, the 5+11, whatever that looks like, it would still be SEC and Big Ten heavy. It would be Big Ten and SEC heavy in any conversation that we would put together on this, ever. And so, but I'm telling you, Big 12, people who are in the Big 12 conference, your Utahs and your BYUs here in town, they look and they go, both of those teams would have been in. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And they'd be playing. Utah playing Michigan? I mean, look, BYU gets the short end of the stick from a big-time, opponent standpoint.
Imagine this happening in 2026, Alex. And you have a Utah-Michigan matchup.
And Utah hosting it at Rice Eccles. Like, that's crazy.
Who in the country's not watching that?
I know. Oh, my gosh. Could you imagine Kyle Whittingham in the visiting locker room?
Insane. This is why we watch. This is why college football would be so intriguing.
There are compelling stories across the board.
That would be great.
That could be enjoyed. All right? So this is why I say more football could potentially be better football, right? You could have these matchups. You'll have more opportunities for intriguing storylines and, frankly, more opportunities for upsets.
And I like that the Big Ten is being progressive about this as opposed to the SEC, who is just fighting everything that's new or different.
I'm into it. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. We've got a Would You Rather you don't want to miss, so stay right here and hang out with us rest of the Friday. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. Hey, our Win Ticket Wednesday next week, featuring something pretty awesome. You ready for this? Oh, boy. Now, I've been hearing tale of this, and our promotions department was like, we got him. We got him. Not like the Bin Laden, we got him, but you know what I'm saying, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Isn't that what was said?
Essentially.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. This next week, 2 tickets to see Post Malone with Jelly Roll, Carter Faith, all at the Rice-Eccles Stadium, big blankety-blank stadium tour coming July 28th. That's right. Tickets you can win right here all day Wednesday next week to Post Malone, Jelly Roll, Carter Faith, all at Rice-Eccles Stadium this summer. You can go to livenation.com, get those tickets that went on sale. And then you can try to win those. Or if you don't get them, try to win them next week on our Win Ticket Wednesday. So there you go. Probably the biggest event we've done in a long, long time. We do big events, but it's a lot of big names right there. Utah's own, Post Malone. Spanish Fork's own, right? That's when they his house is on a pretty prominent hill, or what it used to be, on a pretty prominent hill down there in St. George.
Yeah.
He built this, like, massive thing and then immediately sold it, like, maybe 2 years later.
Okay.
And kind of wherever you are in St. George, you can always see it. And my kids are always like, hey, I wonder what Posty's doing right now. I'm like, he's not there. Okay. There's 9 Ferraris in the driveway.
Got quite a real estate portfolio at this point.
He's not there. All right. Would you rather, JJ? All right. Would you rather play a home game in a 2014 playoff? And, you know, in BYU's case, hosting Houston, great. Or chalk it up right next to, hey, we got to play in the Sugar Bowl. Like BYU playing Houston at home versus BYU playing Houston in the Sugar Bowl.
At home. I've watched the playoff now for 2 straight years, and the most fun, the best environments in the playoff were the games that were held in home stadiums.
Yeah.
Agree? Is there any doubt about that?
No.
I mean, the bowl. I mean, those are nice bowls. We saw Utah in a Sugar Bowl, so
it means a little bit less now. Obviously, Sugar Bowl.
Yeah,
2010.
We saw
very different.
Utah in Rose Bowls. BYU was in a Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
There is some tradition and fun stuff with that. But let's be honest, hosting a playoff game in your stadium, where your fans can attend, nothing would top that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Plus, I just want to see it just absolutely freezing cold in December.
Right. Well, that's your home field advantage. When truly a home field advantage for a team like BYU or Utah would really matter. When you're hosting Alabama in a snowstorm? Yeah.
Alabama in a snowstorm.
Of course, it doesn't snow in Utah anymore, so I guess that's not a thing.
Oh, boy. Come on. One of these years, there'll be a foot on that field, and there's going to be a college football playoff game played.
Not this year.
I can't wait. Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. When we return, Ben Anderson, one of our Utah Jazz insiders, of course, for KSLSports.com, Jake and Ben host, he's going to jump in and give us his thoughts on the $500,000 fine, all of the back and forth, and the kind of the example that was made of Ryan Smith and the Utah Jazz over the past couple of days, $500,000, what that fine means. Plus, going into the All-Star break, this team, and it's not the halfway point, well past it, but kind of a good time for us to make that break happen and then say, where is this team right now going forward? Stay with us. More to go, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.